Hello, my beautiful beings, and welcome to another beautiful life where we will cultivate more love and joy in our lives through the perspectives we're choosing in the now. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Olivia of Master Manifestors who will be hopping on in just a second. So, we just had a fabulous conversation over on Master Manifestors, Olivia Joy Grace's channel. And we talked about my experience with manifestation, and now we're going to get into Olivia a bit. So, Olivia, would you tell us what brought you into conscious manifestation?
Well, we were actually talking about this a bit on the video, but I'll tell you more about it. So, I was searching for happiness. I was looking around at the world and I saw that all the things that people told you made you happy or don't make you happy. I'm like looking like everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, or you're black or you're white, or you're young or you're old. They all look equally unhappy to me. So I was like, there's something else to happiness, you know? And so I was really curious about that because I wanted to feel good. And so I literally Googled it. I literally Googled how to be happy. And what popped up was Buddhism. And it got me into meditation. And so it was really, honestly, it was like it was meant to be, like fate, because literally everybody around me was, or like the closer people around me were having awakenings. And so they were teaching me and sharing with me like, oh my gosh, like, do you know you create your reality? So my best friend, she was having her awakening. She would send me these texts of like just incredible information. And she says to me, you know, you create your reality. And in the moment, like my thought that I was having manifested instantly. And so that moment was, it was a really important moment for me because it was instant proof of manifestation for me. So I didn't really have a lot of questioning manifestation. I kind of like accepted immediately, like this thing is real. And I was immediately obsessed with it. And so I like just dove deep into it. And that's really how I got into it. And when I was younger, when I was about 4, I remember telling my mom, I'm an angel. I'm an angel and I'm here to help people be happy. And so I wanted to do all kinds of things. Like I went to school, I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be like a counselor. And when I learned about manifestation, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what can help people be happy. And so I was like obsessed with sharing it with everybody. At first, obsessed with sharing it with like people who didn't want to know about it. But then I was like, I can teach people who do want to know. I can help people who do want to, you know, use this law and these things to improve their lives. And so that's how YouTube started and all of these things. And I've just been obsessed with it from day one.
I love that. I love that you immediately got proof, right?
Mhm.
Emphasis. So, what do you think the most valuable thing that you've learned on this journey has been?
Hmm. That you are the source of everything. That basically buying the pearl. I feel like that is what takes your manifestation to the next level, because until you buy the pearl and understand yourself as the source of your reality, there's always going to be other things outside of you in 3D and even in yourself, right? Like I might say, I'm just a person who can't focus, right? Which is something that I used to say, I'm not saying anymore. I'm a person who can't focus, so I can't manifest. And I can believe that as my truth. But instead of me believing that is the truth because I was born like that and I was maybe diagnosed with something that confirms that, it's knowing that my decision and my story about myself being someone who can't focus is the source of my non-focus, my non-ability to focus. So it's like, if you know that all the time that you are the source of everything, you're never stuck. You're never, it doesn't really matter. Like everything else, I feel like that comes from that is so much more applicable when you know that you're the source and you're not trying to fight against like other authorities in your life.
I love that. I love that. So, I had a similar experience with choosing that I'm really good at focusing and that I have a great memory and everything. I would actually love for you to explain a little bit the phrase buying the pearl.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, I believe it is a Bible verse. I could be wrong, but in the story, it says a man who basically who was a collector of, you know, valuable items, and he found this one pearl of great price and sold all he had to buy this great pearl, right? So let's even just talk about that in the literal sense, because it's going to make more sense in the spiritual sense. So if you are a collector, let's say that's like how you support yourself, you buy and sell valuable items, but let's say everything that you have, like all the items you have is like $10,000. And then you come across this pearl that, like, let's say you buy it from a merchant, they don't really know the value of it. So they're selling it for $10,000, but you know the value of that pearl. The pearl is like $100 million. It's worth like $100 million. So you sell nobody's going to question, oh my God, maybe, but this is my favorite valuable item. I don't want to sell it. And it's like, no, forget all this stuff. Let me get that, right? Like I'll sell all of this and buy that because it's so much more valuable than any of these other individual things, right? Okay. So the pearl that you're buying of great price is understanding yourself as the source. Okay. That is what you're buying. That is what you're accepting as truth. You're selling, the things that you're selling are all your beliefs and agreements with all these other things. So like believing that, like I said, right? Oh, I'm just somebody who can't focus, or I'm a Cancer, so I'm just always going to be emotionally fucked up, or, you know, I'm, my Mars is in my 6th house, so I'm just destined to be poor, you know, like all of these, or, you know, even things like, oh, the government, the economy is fucked up, so, you know, I can't thrive. It's like you're assigning meaning to all of these things, except for what did I decide? And y'all, like Rose, it's so funny because I've never even really thought about that. Like, because I've been focusing so much recently on no time and things like that, because that's like really pushed me into a new level. But none of that makes sense without understanding yourself as the source. That is like the fundamental understanding and knowing and truth for you to really be able to control your reality. So yeah, buying the pearl, buying that you are the only source, then it makes sense that there's no one to change but self. Then you always know who or what to go to in anything. It's not like, oh my gosh, like if it is the government, what can you do? Wait for another term. If it is me, if it's because my Mars is in my 6th house, I guess I have to literally die and reincarnate to overcome the struggle, right? So yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, just so much goodness in this. And very much like selling the old stuff. That was immediately when you were like, oh yeah, he sold all of his stuff to get the pearl. And I was like, literally, like I had to sell all the thoughts that were saying like, you know, my body's going to take forever to heal, or like, you know, I'm shy, or like whatever the heck. You get rid of it. And then the great thing is you have this shiny, new, brilliant, fabulously wealthy pearl. Like, so I think some people are a little bit afraid of getting rid of the old identity, but I'm like, baby, you didn't even want that. You didn't even want that anyway. You didn't want that stuff.
It's
like,
so real.
For real right now. Like, if you wanted it right, like you would still like, but you don't. So it's like, oh, well, like I want the good relationship with this man, but he's such an asshole. And it's like, okay, do you want to be with an asshole? No. So sell it. Get rid of it. Like, you don't need that. It's so funny. It's like, oh my God, well, I want the healthy body, but I'm so injured and I had to get rid of that. And I noticed it was like, I didn't mention this part on your live, but like there was a part where it was like in the 3 days I was like reformatting myself. Like a couple of family members came over at one point and like I noticed myself getting into the old story because it was just reinforcing the like, not like, oh, well, I'm getting there. And I felt how that expanded it. So I had to like, after they left, I was like, I locked in. I was like, I'm not seeing anybody. I'm fully committed to this story. I'm not going to the old thing. And then that was another thing of like not punishing self in the moment. We mentioned at the very beginning of the live on your channel about like being in the moment. In the moment, if I'm spending a now moment to punish myself for something, no, wrong. Throw it in the trash. Sell that, whatever. And remember what your pearl is. Your pearl is you and your beautiful life, living a life you love in your perfect home with your perfect family or your perfect community or the perfect dance center or whatever it is.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love how you said spending spending the now moment to reinforce the old story. It's such a good way to put it, and a good reminder to be present in what you're choosing, and what you said about being around others. That's why I really value silence, when you're manifesting, because others can like reinforce a state. Not that they have power over you, but it's that you are used to them perceiving you a certain way, and they're used to perceiving you a certain way. And so I remember when I was talking about RJ Spina healing himself, he wouldn't let anyone into his room, because he was like, I can't afford anyone else's thoughts, anyone else's energy, other than my own intention for what I'm doing. So I feel like that's it's very important. And it depends, right? If you're a person who's very solid, you're like, this is easy. I already know this in the bag. Tell everybody if you want to. But me personally, I feel like it's better to solidify the new state within yourself before you share it, and try to get others to agree with it outside of yourself.
I love that. And I really liked what you said about the buying it. Like, you're buying it from them. Like, do I want, here, you have the currency, the current of my intention. Yes. And I'm buying from you the whatever bullshit belief you were holding in frequency, not even as a separate being, but just as like the manifestation of that in my own consciousness, right? That's just the part they played. That's the role that I had cast them in. They could not show up differently. Just to offer me the option of like, would you like a dirt sandwich, m'lady? And me being like, yeah, I hate dirt. Let me get it. Let me get in on that. Like, like, we're not doing it. We're not doing it anymore. Stop buying shoes that don't fit you and then being like, but now I have bunions. It's like, you were never meant to shove your feet in those anyway. They didn't fit you for a reason. There's infinite other pairs you could be putting your little feet in. Amazing.
I love that.
So, Olivia, what's your favorite thing that you've manifested? Or like recently?
Recently?
Or just in general, however that question wants to be answered.
I'd say my favorite thing I've manifested ever is what I do. It's like being able to be a coach, because I don't think that I was aware of the impact. I know I wasn't, because I wasn't aware of myself, really. I wasn't aware of my influence, basically. And so I was really, just like, yeah, even when I made my YouTube channel, I didn't know about coaching. I didn't know about, I wasn't even thinking about like making money. Like, I was just like, I want to share this with people who want to know. And then eventually I learned about life coaching. I remember my mom talked to me, but she was like, have you ever heard of this thing called life coaching? And it just clicked. I was like, oh, I can teach this, right? And I was a server. I served tables for about 10 years. So I obviously was very unfulfilled, like in my job. And so being able, and it was like, I'm the type of person who I'm always teaching. I would be teaching at my serving jobs, and people at my job, my coworkers would be like, you're going to be like Oprah, like, or I'm teaching with my friends, or I'm teaching with my family. So I was doing it all the time anyway. And I just loved it. And the feeling that I got, it was just so wonderful. So being able every day to like, literally my job, like when I'm like, oh, I'm working today, it's like, oh, I'm about to go sit down and like share this information with people, or, oh, I'm about to, connect with a client and like, we're going to completely change their life together. Like, that's my job. That's my work. Like hearing all the stories of people transforming their lives, like transforming themselves, healing from years of trauma, from a hour conversation or a 30-minute video, like seeing the impact. And even I still feel now, I still don't see it fully, because it's not just even these people, that we touch. It's the people that they go and they touch, and the people that they go and they touch. It's like it's like a love ripple and an empowerment ripple, like through the world. And it's just brought me so much purpose, so much joy, so many lessons. One of my favorite things about being on earth is to learn. It's my favorite thing. I love learning about anything, but especially things that I love like this, And so every day, almost every moment, I'm learning. I'm seeing things. I'm connecting things together, and it feels like such an honor to be that, and to be able to do that, and to be able to, the community that I have manifested. I was a very shy person. Even when I started my channel, I was very shy and scared, putting yourself out there. And then it's not like I'm like, doing pranks or, silly things. It's like you're talking about like deep esoteric, potentially triggering information. And I was really scared. Like, what are people going to say to me? How are they going to view me? And I just intended to attract the most loving and incredible supportive community. And that's what I did. My community is like, it's crazy because it's the only place right now that I feel fully seen and understood. I'm a person that, this, like all of this manifestation, this spirituality, this is my jam. This is me. It is. And it's like being, having to be normal and having to be, in regular life and interact with regular people. It's like, it doesn't feel like there's really a place too much. There's a little place for it, but when I'm live and when I'm with my, making my videos is when I feel home and when I feel seen and when I feel, just really like in my truth. I feel very authentically me and very, very much like doing what I'm supposed to do, like being this expression of God, and like everything else that comes from that, like the transformations and the shifts and just the love is just, it's incredible. So yeah, all of this, my videos, my community, being able to teach, I feel like right now is my favorite manifestation I've ever done.
I love that so much. And it's very funny too, because it's like very much the same for me, where it's like teaching and sharing this is like who I am. Like I can't help but share it, because I think once you know the impact and the change and everything, it's like, I don't want to shut up about it ever. I just I love talking about it. I was on a road trip with a friend of mine like 6-7 years ago, and she was like, I love that no matter where we are, it could be the middle of nowhere, it could be at a party, but like if I walk away from you and walk back like 10 minutes later, you're going to be the same level of deep in conversation about like creating your reality in the universe with someone. Like, and I don't know how you do it. You just meet magical people everywhere. And I was like, because that whole trip, I was like, everywhere I go, I meet magical people.
I love that. Oh my God, I'm taking that.
Please do. Like, I love it so much. It's just like, I love connecting with people in that way. But like my art, my poetry, my music, my like all my content, it's the one thing, right? It's all one thing. Whether you are looking at it through the frame of I am, or the frame of selection, or the frame of anything you want to label it. Anything you want to label it, it exists beyond label. It existed before there were humans with vocal cords to grunt in specific patterns to describe something. It is just intrinsic to the field of consciousness and awareness. So it's just like, but also we've been here the whole time. So whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So, what do you find is a repeated thing that comes up for people that once they really get it, especially with like manifesting people? What do you think that it's like once they get it, it's just done? And I know you mentioned earlier, like you are source, but like, do you expand on that?
Okay. So I feel like there's different answers because I feel like what makes people get it in general is knowing that they're source, and knowing that and coming to understand I'm creating this thing I don't like. When it comes to people, I feel like it's different actually. What I've noticed when it comes to manifesting specific people is what changes usually, along with them knowing that they're the source, but is a love for themselves. That's what I notice. It's when, okay, energetically, a lot of times when I see someone who is really deep into like a specific person journey and maybe not getting the results that they want, it's almost like that journey is like siphoning their energy out of them and like putting them like down. And because it's almost like they're holding off on accepting themselves and loving themselves, accepting themselves as good enough until this person comes in this specific way. And then there's so much blaming and shaming from, themselves, from other teachers. This is your fault. And people can take, you created this as this is your fault. But it's kind of like if you push somebody down, right? You push them down, but if somebody pushed you and you ran into them and pushed them down, well, it's not really your fault that you pushed them down. You played a part in pushing them down, but you don't have to shame yourself that I'm just a violent person. I push people. It's like, no, you weren't aware of what you were doing, right? And so all of that, it kind of, in my opinion, a lot of the content around specific people is leading people away from self-love. It's leading them into this person is the validation, this person, getting this person is everything. And this confirms your power. This confirms your worthiness. This confirms your chosenness. And even when the person gets to a point, because what I notice is it starts, okay, so reality is created like this. It's identity. Your identity is going to lead to your specific beliefs and assumptions. Your specific beliefs and assumptions going to lead to your experience in 3D. And when we start to become manifestors, we do it backwards. We start with a 3D. We're like, okay, 3D, change. And then eventually that person gets like, oh, that's not where I can change it. Okay, let me go to my beliefs and assumptions, right? And so they're trying to flip their thoughts, right? But the thoughts keep coming and everything keeps coming because the identity is the same. And so when they get to the identity, a lot of times, even the identity piece is just something that they can do so that I can get this person. So it's not like I really want to love myself or choose myself or anything. It's like, I want to hurry up and create this idea about myself so that I can attract my person in so that they can go back to validating me, and I tell people all the time, when you treat loving yourself and self-concept work and all of that, like, just a ticket to get you what you want. It's like a man taking you out to like an expensive dinner so he can sleep with you. Like, it's like, it takes all the value out of the dinner. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But
like, if I put enough self-love coins in, then you'll give me what I want, right?
Literally, I'm telling you. And you don't even realize it, but it's because the shift happens when that person stops being the center of your world. Because you are the creator. What you make the center is the center. And if some person is the center, where are you? You're off in the corner somewhere. And when you look at the experience of, oh my God, it's been 2 months and they haven't texted me. And oh, I've texted them 3 times and they haven't texted me back. Yeah, that's exactly the experience you're having, an off in a corner experience. But when you make yourself, when I see women, it's like I was saying in the beginning, where it's like they come to me siphoned. They come to me like, it's almost like a flower, like just closed up, like drooping. And then we water them with this new idea about themselves and you see them bloom and they like come to life again. And you can see that they see the beauty and the value in themselves. And that's when everything shifts. That's when the person comes in. That's when everything changes, is getting them to authentically choose and love and put themselves first. And then they see that reflected in their world.
I love that. I'm so happy. Okay, so like, what thread to pull first? Very much, yes. Literally the siphoning, when you are focusing your attention away from you, you're sending, like, imagine like your attention is sunlight. So you're putting all this sunlight on that plant. What happens when you put light on a plant too long too? It gets holes burned into it. So like, let's like take that, let's put some fluid in ourselves. I noticed that if I'm ever find myself like, why isn't this happening fast enough? I'm like, all right, girl, pull back into the now moment of it happening. And then also like put attention on self. what do I need? Let me flow some energy through me. Just feel really, really good and loved and nourished. Let me do some skincare. Let me go take myself on a walk, a hot girl walk, and tell myself like, oh my God, I'm so beautiful. Like whatever. But like, nourishing yourself, absolutely. And then you're the most brilliant, blooming, blossoming person to go into your relationship. Instead of going into a relationship, a desperate, shaking shell of a person that worked so hard to get this person through some concept of trickery, when that's not what it is at all. You are literally in your power, selecting in your reality, like, I am loved and chosen. And that is just a fact. And so everything has to show that to me. Just like, you know, if you're selecting I'm unhealthy versus I'm healthy, like you are being shown your own consciousness. Whatever you are conscious of, you're witnessing and experiencing. So yeah, so good. And I also wanted to ask about like money, because you are prosperity queen. You are so good with your money videos and all that jazz. I loved hearing about like the concept of like this, because I've noticed with my own clients of like people who have like treat SP and money in kind of the same way. It's like the same pattern of like, it's outside the self. It's something I have to like get to. I have to be a certain way to get it. And like they're just like siphoning energy away from yourself instead of when you're receiving money, what's happening? You're here. It's all flowing into me. It's all flowing into me. So I wanted to hear you, whatever you wanted to spit on that, because you're amazing.
I love you, Rose. You're amazing. I'm having the time of my life. Like, I'm serious. Like, one of my affirmations is my life is a magical party, and I'm like, this feels like that. Yeah, money. Ooh, okay. So yeah, the biggest thing I find with money when people struggle with money, number one is that there is an extreme amount of programming around money, and it's a universal programming. You know, somebody can grow up with loving parents, and so their idea about love is what it is. You know what I mean? But people have different experiences when it comes to that. People have different experiences when it comes to everything. But for majority of us, other than, what is it, like the top 10% or 1% of people, most people have a similar story, no matter what level that they're at, whether they're impoverished, whether they're middle class, right? It's still this story of there is not enough. And I have to work really hard. Even people who are maybe even prospering, come from a good family, right? I have to work very hard. I have to sacrifice. I have to do all of these things to get money. So there's this big collective programming around money. And then attached to that is this fear and scarcity. And so what I notice when it comes to manifesting, especially for people who understand manifestation and are having trouble applying it, is that the reason why you waver, it's not so much about the wavering, it's why are you wavering? And when it comes to money, it's because it's too serious, right? It's like, oh, if I want a car, right? If I want to manifest my dream car, sure, whatever. If I don't get my dream car, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? I'll keep driving my other car or keep taking the bus or doing whatever I'm doing. If I don't have my rent, me and my kids are out on the street. If I don't have money, I can't eat. If I don't have money, like I die. So it's the brain is even more resistant to, you want me to accept that my mind can create money? Absolutely not. You with that airy fairy shit. You can have all that airy fairy shit with anything except our survival, not our direct survival. And so eventually, right, the brain, even when you're doing your affirmations and you're doing whatever you're doing, it goes back to, I don't have enough, because the thought of I don't have enough feels safer to the brain. The brain says, if I can know that I don't have enough, I can somehow solve that. I can go get a new job. I can look at who can I borrow from. I can look at what to do. But if I sit here and rest in having enough, and just trust the universe, okay, you're trying to get us off the street. Like, I'm not doing that. And
She's
so
trying to kill me.
Right. Literally, like your brain and your ego takes it like that. You're trying to kill us. And don't worry. I have plenty of fearful memories, fearful thoughts, truths, news headlines to show you, to get you right back in line, right back into the victim mentality, right back into, forget all those affirmations. It didn't work last time, right? So there's that. Then on a even deeper level, there's the belief that, like you said, like kind of pedestal, like putting money on a pedestal. Money is different. Just that belief alone, right? That was the belief that I had that prevented me from manifesting money for years, was that money is just different. I can't manifest it. I can manifest anything. I can fucking wake up on Venus tomorrow if I want to, but money, oh no, just can't do that. And you don't even realize that you're choosing that belief, but you're choosing it based off of what is and based off what has been, right? And you're like, well, and that's the other thing. Gosh, there's so much. Failure consciousness, okay? Of all the times that you have tried to manifest money and tried to manifest on the deadline and not gotten it, right? And so the brain is keeping that like, hey, we want you to remember that you've done this before and it doesn't work for you. So failure consciousness is the belief that this isn't going to work. You can be deep in your meditation. You might even say, I'm going to do my affirmations for 30 minutes today instead of 10. But the subtle consciousness behind that is this isn't going to work. It never works. And so what that does is continue to frustrate you, right? And so, but the belief is it doesn't work, but you keep trying because you know all this stuff works. You're seeing, then it's telling you it doesn't work. And then you see somebody the next day and they're like, I manifested $20,000. And so you're like, well, okay, so it does work, right? But not for me. Right. You know, and so it's all of that. I would say like, this is going back briefly to the fear and the scarcity. This is why people talk so much about nervous system regulation when it comes to bringing in not just some money, right? Not just, oh, wow, I manifested $100. You know what I'm saying? But money that is life-changing to you, because your brain has a story around what that means for you, or is that safe for you? And so being able, and honestly, the feeling of having money is complete opposite to the feeling of trying to get money. I remember when I really tapped into that flow of manifesting money, I was like, whoa, the problem that everybody has with manifesting money is that it's easy, actually. And we're so programmed that it's hard. And so we keep coming at it with this forceful energy and this difficult energy and this, I got to do and all this stuff. And that's not the energy that money is. Money is an energy of ease. It's an energy of flow. It's an energy of like, ooh, relaxation. Like if you found out today, like, oh, you have a trust for, $50 million and you don't ever have to work or do anything. You don't have to worry about anything. How does the body respond to that? The body's like, shit, great. Oh, that's a weight off. That's a lift off. Right. And so, but how are you feeling when, rent's due tomorrow and you're like, I got $20. You're drawn up, you're tight. And it's almost like, an energy flowing through you. It's like, a current flowing through you. And the more that you are relaxed and at ease, the easier the current can flow through you. Like if you can see like a river, like flowing down something, but the more rocks, the more obstacles, the more like you're tense, all that tenseness is like little obstacles in your energy that like the money, it's like, it can't flow and you can just let it be. That was like a lot what I practice, like when manifesting money is getting into the feeling of not needing it, getting rid of the need, coming into, it's mine already. So I don't need it anymore. What would it feel like not to need it? What would it feel like to have way more than I need? And like allowing the ease to just settle in your body and knowing that is the frequency of money. Last thing I'll say about money is the how. This is also one of the hugest things that prevents people, is because they simply can't fathom a way. And you not being able to fathom a way for money to come to you comes from the state of money being scarce or being hard to get. You can see that the experience that you're having with money is always coming from your state. Right? Like there are people, one of the people who make the most money in the world are traders, right? They're day traders. They sit at their computer and they press buttons and make tens of thousands of dollars in a day, right? Whereas someone else is like, I need to get a third job. I don't know how I'm going to fit it in between my 5 to 9 and my 9 to 5, but I've got to get another one and still barely making maybe a couple hundred a day, right? So understanding that, like understanding, it's not correlated with your action. You don't need to know the how. You're not most of the time gonna know the how. And so this is with all manifestation, I find too, is that the how keeps people from entering the state at all. they won't even enter the state. They won't even give themselves permission to dream and to imagine what would it be like if I could have that. Because they're like, I don't see a how, I don't see a way, so there must not be a way. And what I tell people is, you guys, you don't know everything. You don't even know everything as a human. You don't even know in this chat. There's every person here knows something that you don't. So you saying, I don't know how it could be, like that's the end all be all, doesn't even make sense, right? But beyond that, you're not dealing with human knowing. You're dealing with God knowing. You're dealing with higher consciousness knowing, right? And so your job is never to know the how, ever. Your job is to choose the end and persist in that end. And so it's the same with money. Don't worry about the how. Whatever way it needs to come, it will come. You may not even have to lift a finger, right? Maybe you do. Maybe you're a person who wakes up and you're like, oh my God, I've been collecting rainbow socks for 30 years. I'm going to sell these. Like it doesn't matter. But whatever way, the acceptance of the end wills the means. This is Neville, okay? The acceptance of the end wills the means. The way that I see that is that you choosing the end literally creates the how.
Yes.
So you waiting on the how without even choosing the end doesn't even make any sense.
It's so funny too, where it's like, but I don't know how. You don't need to know how. It's going to come right to you. Either the thought's going to drop into your pretty little head and you're going to so easily take action on it, or literally it's going to come right to you. Here you go. Wasn't it Joseph Murphy with like him getting in his house? I think that was who it was, where like he just visualized being in his house every day, and then like 6 months later, after doing this every day for 6 months, someone knocked on the door and like brought him, and someone had heard his affirmation tapes on the radio, willed him the property, and he went to the house and he knew where things were already when he was walking through it. And he goes, tell me, is there a recording studio upstairs with tapes already in it? And the guy was like, yeah, how'd you know that?
That is wild. I've never heard that story.
It's going to come right to you. And like, I love sharing stories. Like I've shared stories about like raspberry ice cream and candy canes and things where like, just little stories about that, like things coming right to me. But like, even me asking for like my body stuff of like, please just like whatever needs to happen for this to happen. And then the consciousness of it dropped into me. It came right to me. I didn't have to hunt for it. I think that there's also this, like, one of the things with money is like the whole, you have to work hard for money, right? And so people who took that lesson and internalized it work hard for money, as if money is your employer instead of you employing money. Like, where are we going here? So talked about relationships, talked about money. What do you want to say about wellness? I saw something this morning where it was like the main things people are concerned about are relationships, money, and wellness. And I was like, well, we've covered 2 out of 3 on them. We talked about wellness a bunch on your YouTube channel with like my experience, but what would you like to say about just bringing that through the body?
I love that. So my idea about wellness and health in the body, I like to start from the basis that we are all God. So at our basis, we are all perfect, including our physical body. So to me, when I think about the fact that I am God, that I'm a perfect expression of God, then illness doesn't make sense to that. So I think it's really important in manifesting anything, but especially with health, is orienting your identity more to your God self than your ego self and your avatar self, and also knowing that your idea about your health is your health. Health is another one of those things that is so much programming around it. Like, You turn on the TV. Don't you feel like this? Don't you feel like that? You should take this. You should take that. You go to your checkups. They tell you, don't you have this? Don't you have that? Are you coughing? Are you sneezing? You probably have this disease. It's like all over. And let alone, I know for me, there was a lot of programming around illness in my family because my family was very sickly, you know? And so, and it was very much like told to me, you're going to experience this too. You have to, if you don't do this, then you have to. So there was all this fear and anxiety around health for me. But I was like, but if this body is God's, if I'm in a God body, if this body is nothing but what I claim it to be, but even beyond what even I claim it to be, it's like, what is it at the base of it? At the base of this skin and cells is molecules and then atoms and then energy, which we call God, which is perfect. So that means that the basis, the fundamental building blocks of my body is perfection. Now, I know that my ideas are influencing my world. So I know that if I have an idea of sickness, then that my body will form into that because I commanded it to do so, not because it is imperfect. But I know that the actual fundamental state of my body is perfection. And I keep believing in that. Like, I remember when COVID started happening and I was, everybody was freaking out. And I was like, I'm not freaking out because God is the source of my health. It doesn't matter. Somebody could cough like right on me. If I believe, I truly felt above illness. Like I was like, I vibrate above illness. I'm not susceptible to that. It doesn't matter what you do. People tell me all the time, you're going to catch this. You're going to, oh my gosh, you're going to get sick. Oh, I hope I don't. I'm like, my immune system is A1. My immune system is like unshakable. Like I'm always in perfect health. So it's making that non-negotiable. And it truly is, you guys, like continuing to know yourself above a regular experience. I was really thinking about this morning in my walk of really identifying as supernatural. Because the more human that you identify as, the more human things that you're susceptible to, and the more above human that you identify as, the less human things that you're susceptible to. And even if you are experiencing them, you're still knowing that actually this is a way that I'm incorrectly using my mind. It's not something wrong with me fundamentally. There's an incorrect way that I'm using my mind, and I know just how to correct it. So it's not even a problem.
Yes. Misuse of imagination. You are infinite consciousness, and you can tune into illness just as you can tune into wellness. What I am remembering is I saw one day someone like looked at the word illness and it was like I willness, like I'll instead of like wellness, like we will, like, and so it's like when you are in your singular perspective, like zoomed so far into like I am sick instead of zooming out and recognizing like I am the totality or we are the totality of all things, like all things are here. And like also the word well comes from whole. So it's like that wholeness, that completeness of self of like, I am this, I am loved, I am cherished, all that jazz. Like so beautiful. Love that. I love what you said about like your thoughts about your health are your health or your consciousness of your health is your health. However, I'm going to enjoy watching this replay too. Like, but like, not even just a word, but a whole paragraph, like all of it, all of it. It is good. So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So anything else? What's the most joy that you experience through your day?
Ooh. Ever in life or like today?
However you want to answer that question. Like, what are the things that you're just light you up? We wrapped up the interview on your page about joy and, expression in that play. And I want to know, what is that for you?
Ooh. I love being in nature. Today I was on my walk and I saw a snake. It was funny. It was kind of an instant manifestation because I saw a snake like months ago at the park. And I thought to myself, I was just thinking as I was walking, like, I haven't seen a snake in this park. And then I like round the corner and there's a man like, hold on, wait. And there's like a snake like on the path. And it was just so cute. I don't know why, because usually I'm scared of snakes, but I just thought it was just so cute. He was so chill. He was just sitting there. I was like, oh my gosh. And it just made me so happy. Like the rest of my walk, I was like beaming. I was like, wow, what a cute little snake. And he just appeared like right as I thought of him. But usually I would say my most joy is teaching. my most joy is moments like this. Like this, it's funny because like as we were when we were making my live on YouTube, and I was listening to you, and I was feeling so much joy. I was feeling so much fulfillment and just everything. And I was like, whoa, it's like that experience with the snake, like propelled into my day, right? That feeling of joy, it just expanded like even more into our interaction. And this is where my most joy. I'm telling you, I could be sick. I can be depressed. When I come and I go live, I'm a completely different person. And I think it's because it's when God is most alive in me. It's most present in me. And so that presence just kind of etches out anything else that's going on with, Olivia. And I get to just fully be God in action, and so I would say that seeing my clients and my subscribers get what they want, that's also, I think that's even higher. I won't even say higher, because the joy I get from teaching is like a fulfilling joy. The joy I get from like seeing people get what they want and seeing their lives change, it's very emotional for me. I always cry. It just touches me so deeply of being able to have this experience. Like I could have done anything. I could have been anyone. And I get to be alongside other powerful beings and help them, and learn from them, and they learn from me, like I learn from my clients all the time. And yeah, it's just, I think nothing like just doing this work, even reading, meditating. It's like when I'm immersed in this, joy is like off the charts.
I love it. And that's how you're fully on purpose.
Yeah.
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 Like living on purpose and like existing like in the purpose that you choose, because it's what lights you up and flows through you the most. Flowing life through you. I love that what you said of like where God is most like living through you or like flowing through you. Beautiful, phenomenal, poetic. All right. Let's take some questions.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add before question time?
No, we can get into questions. I saw some earlier, but let's see here.
I love this. This is so much fun. I'm having so much fun.
Me too. I'm thrilled, actually. No. Okay, let's see. Okay, what to do when you want to experience something? I feel like this is a really good question. So automatically accept it as yours. So there's different ways that you can go about that, but it really truly is an inner acceptance. Everything that you do to get yourself to accept it is like techniques, affirming, visualizing, is just to get to that inner acceptance. So one of the best ways I feel like I thought about it recently is, instead of seeing your desires as, dang, here's something I want that's like over there that I have to go get, see it as something that the divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, has decided to experience through you as you. So infinite intelligence, the being that is galactifying the galaxies, the being that is having all of the planets in rotation and the sun come up and the sun go down, that is something that you can't fathom how to do. But it does it effortlessly. It can bring you your little money. It can bring you your little person. You know what I'm saying? So it's trusting in that and understanding that this desire isn't even a desire. It's an invitation. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get invited somewhere, you're not like, oh my God, how do I plan the party? You just show up. You're just like, yeah, I'm going to go. You say yes. And then you go and you have a lit time. God's inviting you to this party. That's your desire. Like, come to this party. You want to come? You can say no. You can be like, no, I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I'm not good enough for that yet. Or you can say, yeah, hell yeah, I want to go to that party. And God's like, cool, I'll just show up. Be here around, 8. I'll see you at divine timing, right? Be here around now. Be here at the appointed hour of now.
Now time.
We're on God time. 9 o'clock. We'll have everything already set up for you. So then it becomes, then you're truly walking in the assumption, because what I find is that what a lot of people do when they want to experience something is they immediately enter Tringsville, right? Ooh, I want to get this thing,
What do
but it's
I
not
have to do?
right. What do I have to do? Here's what I have to try. Here's the things I have to do to make this thing happen. But if awareness is reality, if awareness is reality, if the only time is now, and in every now moment, your awareness is, I'm trying to get this thing I don't have. When do you ever walk into having it? And your brain is always going to have very logical things that make sense, that say, this is the reason why you can't occupy it. And that's where you have audacity and you decide to be bold and you decide, actually, instead of all of that, I'm still going to choose to accept my end. And so what I do when it comes to something that I want to accept, I first of all acknowledge that, well, creation is finished. It's already done. So there's a version of me, right, already experiencing it. And then I go to, well, what if it were true? This is my state shifting question, right? What if it were true that I had this thing? As soon as I ask myself, what if it were true? When you're doing that, you're doing it light and easy. You're not doing it like, this is, oh my God, okay, I've got to manifest this money. Okay, what if it were true? What if it were true? Oh my, that you're not going to get there from there, because now it's a task. Now it's literally a natural process, right?
Right.
What if it were true? You pose the question, the answers come. Oh, you would be thinking like this. You'd probably be looking like this. You might even be sitting like this instead of how you're sitting. You might, you would, all of it just comes to you. And then you let those feelings like just sit in you. And then you persist. And the fact that that is who I am now, that's who I chose to be. You're giving your decision supremacy. So knowing that my decision creates, period. My decision is the creative force, period. So regardless of anything else, my only task is to continue to decide and know that what I have chosen is mine now. And you just walk in that. That's what I would do when I want to experience something. And depending, I could go like a lot deeper, but it would take a long, long, long time.
My word is the word of God, and it is final. Like that's like, yes. I know there's a couple other questions. Are you okay with going a little bit longer since we had a little delay in the beginning?
I'm 100%. I'm down.
Before we get back to that, I did want to ask for a little bit of elaboration from earlier where we mentioned putting the focus back on self. I would just like you to state what that actually looks like, of like, okay, instead of putting focus on an SP or money, what does it actually look like to put that light and life force back through yourself?
Ooh, what a great question, Rose. Okay, so first of all, it's recognizing that you are the source of everything, like I was saying at that time, right? It's understanding that your identity is the factory of everything. It's the factory of your thoughts and assumptions. So for you to go in your mind, and let's say your identity right now is a blue rose, right? And so your factory is creating blue roses, and you're like on the conveyor belt, like, no, I want pink roses. And so you're trying to take off all the blue roses and put pink roses. That's you trying to flip your thoughts. And you can actually clear off that conveyor belt and fill it with pink roses. And then you look behind you and there's a whole bunch of blue roses coming down, because that's the factory. So I'm saying this to say, you guys, the temptation is always going to be, let me just solve this thing in 3D. Let me just flip these thoughts, right? It's always going to be that. But when you can know that there is nothing to solve in 3D, there's only something to solve in me, then you will actually go to self. And what that looks like, the question I ask myself is, what is alive in me that would create this experience? And what should be alive in me? What would be alive in me to create that experience? What would someone who's experiencing, right? What would someone who's experiencing an incredible relationship, what would they think about themselves? What would they think about love? If beliefs and assumptions are what creates our life and our identities, what would their identity be? What would they think about love, about their person, right? And going within, because what we're doing a lot of times is we're standing in a state, standing in an identity. I'm unwanted. Nobody likes me. And I need this boy to like me. And then I'll know that I'm liked. But you're emanating an energy of, I'm not likable. He doesn't like me. And so that energy is creating your experience, and it's reaffirming and confirming, I'm not likable. And then you're doing all this stuff to just get a little bit of attention. And I want to just zoom into that really quickly, okay? Let's just talk about that. Somebody who is doing all of this stuff to get somebody's little attention, just a text, just an acknowledgement, just a date, what do you think that person thinks about themselves? What does that say about what the person thinks about love? Love takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of hard work, right? What does it say about me? I have to do so much to get just a little bit. Nobody's going to just choose me. I have to somehow get them to choose me. Because what? Because I'm not chosen, because I'm not wanted, because I'm not enough. And when you can get into those things that you believe about yourself, you stop needing it from the outside. It doesn't mean that you don't want it, right? It doesn't mean that it's not, self-love is not saying, oh, wow, I'll just love myself and my cats and never have a partner. It's not that. It's saying that you can be a complete and whole version of self and enter a relationship with another complete and whole version of self instead of I'm half, I'm broken, I'm not good enough, and I need this person to come in and validate and fill me up and be my other half and make me whole, right? And so when you go where the control center is and you decide that I am chosen, I'm lovable, I'm wanted, I'm enough the way that I am, right? And programming yourself to think that, because what you think about yourself, you were programmed to think that about yourself. It's not that it's true. It's something that you were either told or you told yourself so much until you believed it about yourself. And so when it comes to like you guys, me, I'm a completely different person than I was growing up. Completely different. I had nowhere near the self-concept to do the things that I do at all. To come and talk to people on the internet about crazy things. Oh, no, not at all. But I wasn't trapped in that. That was a version of self, right? And as when I was like, trying to get my channel and trying to do all my stuff and nothing, I would get like 8 views on my videos, right? It was because I was waiting on the community. I was waiting on the success. I was waiting on somebody to tell me, you're good at this. You're so good at this, for me to believe it and choose it for myself. So my identity was standing in, I'm not good enough. And I want that out there to show me I'm good enough. How's that going to work? When you are the source, you're the projector. That's like you being at the movies and going up there with like an eraser and trying to erase the movie off the screen. It's not going to work like that. You've got to go to the projector room. You got to put something else in there. And so when you put all of that focus on yourself and you say, I am chosen, I'm loved, you don't need it anymore. That's the problem, you guys. It's not that it's wrong to manifest a specific person or bad or anything like that. But being in need and desperation is just not like your God self. It's just not. It's further away from your God self than closer. And so when I don't need it, right? I don't need it because I'm my own validation. I'm chosen because I say so. Now you're emanating a field that says I'm chosen. And now you're thinking thoughts that naturally match that you're chosen. Well, if I'm chosen, then of course this person's going to like me. Then of course this is going to work out for me. And that expresses naturally as your experience. And beyond that, you guys, it feels so good to pour love into yourself, to pour all that good, potent love that you give to everybody around you into yourself. It's so fulfilling. The way that SP journey and magnifying someone else in your experience drains you is the same way that when you put it back on yourself, it fills you up and you just start to glow from within.
I'm like vibrating over here. Amazing. Also, I really want to remark that the word program comes from to put forth the shape.
Wow.
So it's like you're literally giving it shape, you're giving it form. When a program, right, you're giving it a shape to follow. Like, so as I speak, I create, I give it the shape, right? I give it the form and it must be fulfilled and reflected back to me. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that beautiful, phenomenal, stellar answer. I'm so excited to watch both of these replays.
Me too.
Let's take a couple more questions, like let's say 2.
Okay, great.
2, 3, whatever. I see this one here, how to let go of failure consciousness step by step.
Ooh, that's a good
do you
one.
want to take that?
Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad they asked that. Okay. First thing is to understand that failure is a product of your consciousness. It is not who you are. Okay. So when you fail, your consciousness comes from failing so much that you believe I'm just a failure. Right. And this just doesn't work. That's just the way that it is. That right there, that little sentence is just the way it is. It's fucked up. Okay. Because it's not. It's just the way it is in this reality. So there's an infinite realities, right? So it's understanding that your experience is a product of your consciousness. It is not the truth of who you are. There's a version of you who's never failed in their life, right? There's a version of you who always succeeds. And so there's two ways I want to approach this, actually. My sister was sharing with me yesterday. She started a new job and she was saying how all of her leaders were telling her it's okay to fail because how you get great is through failure, right? How you get great is through failure. This is what I would tell people in my channel. You guys, like my channel, I started my channel in probably like 2016. I failed in my channel for about 8 years. So if in any of that, I was like, oh, guess this isn't for me, where would I be? You know what I'm saying? A lot of the reason I'm a great teacher is because I failed so much so that I can know when wherever people are at in their, journey, wherever they're at, where they're like, I'm stuck, or even failure consciousness, where do you think it came from? It came from me. It came from me noticing, oh, no matter what I'm doing, I've already accepted that I'm going to fail. That's the end that I'm living in. No matter what I think I'm living in the end I'm living in is I'm going to fail. Right. So it's like, first of all, it's not like people have, especially with the law of assumption community. It's like failure. I can't fail. I remember seeing a post on Reddit and they said, be willing to fail and then revise that you didn't. The best thing. Because if you're not willing to fail, that's another thing that keeps people from even trying. What if I don't get it? What if you don't get it? You already don't have it. So you're not better off or worse off. Like it doesn't matter. But what if you do? Right? What if you do? And so it's really making space. I truly believe that greatness is born from failure. Every person that you see that is excellent at what they do was not excellent from day one. They practiced being mediocre. They might even practice being horrible at it until they got better and better and better until they reached greatness. So any person could have counted themselves out. They could have, I don't know, fucking LeBron James could have bounced a basketball, shot his first shot and missed and said, damn, I could never be great at this. And where would he be? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, so that's another way to look at failure, right? But also understanding that an identity of you having the subtle assumption that I'm going to fail no matter what is the reason why you're failing. It's not because there's something fundamentally wrong with you. That is an expression. It's a version of self that's expressing out of the infinite. And so you have the ability to now choose the version of you who never fails. You get to choose the version of you who has always been massively successful and start to feel into it, right? I want everybody here who feels like you may have been in failure consciousness. I want you to think about whatever it is that you're manifesting, but I want you to think about it from the version of you. What if it were true that not only are you massively successful, you're a master manifester, you always get what you want, but it's always been that way, right? It's always been that way. How does that version of you expect differently? The version of you that fails, they're knee deep in their 30-minute affirmation session saying, this is mine now, this is mine now. And when they get out of that, they're knowing, yep, it's going to be December and I'm still not going to have it. The person who knows I'm a master manifester really doesn't have to say anything. They say, oh, that's the desire that came to my mind. It must be mine, period. And there's nothing for me to do. I don't need to lift a finger to make it so, because it is so. And so when you're thinking, you're seeing that the version of you who believes and sees themselves as a successful person expects differently. And then you start to take on those expectations instead of the failure expectations. But you won't do that because you won't do that until you know that failure consciousness is just that. It's just a state. It's just what you've been mentally feasting on. That's it. But as long as you accept it as a fundamental truth, you won't give yourself permission. You'll believe that that's who you are. You'll say, but I'm a failure, so I can't. But what if you weren't? And what if you're always massively successful? Then what?
I love it. I also want to say failure is not a stop sign. You failed in one moment. Great. You are in this now moment now where you get to decide that you succeed. that you succeeded, that you are successful, that you are loved, that failing in that way, it's also like a really good thing of being like, okay, where was my consciousness in that failure, right? Oh, well, I was expecting to fail, or I thought if I failed, it meant I was a bad person. So, or some bullshit like that, right? Where it's like, oh, that's what I got to clear, was this underlying belief that like failing would somehow tell me something about myself. And then when you do fail, and at the end of the day, you still have you get to be with you and actually be like, you know what, girl? Dust those pants off. We're going again. Like, and this time we're succeeding because we said so. Like, failure is not a stop sign. Failure is just a suggestion from an alternate iteration of reality, really. It's the consciousness of itself. The fact that all things exist, we talk about non-duality, but the fact that we perceive of duality, we perceive of yes, no, black, white, orange, purple, like whatever. The fact that we have these fractals of perception, it means naturally that because I am the oneness of all things and I have the consciousness of winning, I also witness the consciousness of losing. But it is my choice what I am painting with on my canvas, what colors I choose, what energy I flow through me, what I hold as my truth and my being, and what I am speaking through myself and through others, right? This happens with others too. If you look at your friends or hold on, battery. And they say like, oh, that person's just struggling with money. They're a projection of your consciousness. You're going to leave them hanging like that in your consciousness? Or are you going to say like, they're always prospering, they're thriving, they're love value church, their business is booming. They are the best at what they do. Because I say that about myself and I want everyone to win. We all get to win. Everything exists in consciousness and I'm choosing the reality where I'm witnessing us all thrive. So like failure consciousness, how you let go of it is by remembering that you have a choice to experience something different now.
I love that. I love it.
Amazing. Okay, let's do one more question and then we will wrap up. The replay will be on my YouTube at Realm Wild, and the replay from Olivia's will be on her Master Manifester, which on YouTube is MasterManifesters7370, and on here it's Master Manifesters without the numbers. So, which if you haven't followed both of us right now, you can do that. All right, let's look at. If you see any question that you particularly want to answer, you can, but I'm also looking to see if there's.
I see one actually.
Okay.
It says how to be compassionate with the old story, dealing with the grief, not dwelling, and open to gratitude. So I'm going to answer that one at a time. How to be compassionate with the old story. I would say it's not so much compassion for the old story, it's compassion for the self that projected that story. And it's like I said, it's understanding that I'm pretty sure none of us are waking up like, ooh, my life is horrible. My life is horrible. Nobody's doing it on purpose. Okay. Nobody's creating negative experiences on purpose. And honestly, there's a lot of programming and there's a lot of influences that help you to get to these negative assumptions about yourself and your life. And so, first of all, prioritize compassion, because compassion is going to get you to your dream self quicker. When every time you fail, you're like, or you mess up, which is you're going to mess up. That's just what we're here to do. We're human. We're experiencing being human. We're experiencing being imperfect, right? So if every time you do that, you have to shame yourself for weeks or months or years before you get back on, okay, I can be good. I can be great. You're wasting all that time. If you can recognize, wow, I showed up in a way that wasn't my best self or wasn't my highest self, or I wasn't aware, which is majority of the time the problem. I wasn't aware that I was even showing up like that I was projecting that way. And that's okay, because I was doing my best. Every version, you guys, every version of everybody, I don't care who it is. The person that you look at and say they're doing absolutely nothing with their life is doing the best that they can with what they have, with the awareness that they have, right? And so having compassion and having love, and number one, you're just going to feel better when you do that. It's going to feel better to love yourself than to shame yourself. And I like to see our like human selves as children, right? So when you have a baby And, let's say your baby's learning to walk. How many times do babies fall when they're walking? And at no time, if you're a good parent, are you going to say, God, you're a dumb baby. Wow. you're 7 months old. Like, the neighbor's baby's 5 months and they're walking. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you think the baby is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm motivated. Let's get this walking. No, they're going to be like, damn, I suck at this. I can't do this. Look at my legs. They're too short and stubby. Like, this is why I can't walk. Right. And so, but if you're to tell that baby, like we all do, hey, every single person walking this planet fell. Every single person walking this planet fell multiple times before they needed to walk. So it really doesn't matter how many times you fall. You're going to walk. It's guaranteed for you. You can do it. How motivated is that baby going to be like, yeah, let's try it again. I can do it. I believe in myself because you believe in me. And so you want to have that relationship with self. I believe in myself because you believe in me. The part of you that did the old story or projected the old story, the part of you that feels separate, or feels struggling, or feels limited, or feels like a victim. I believe in you because you believe in me, right? So that's number one. Dealing with the grief there's a lot of different ways. I would say EFT tapping is depending on how deep that grief is and how ingrained into your body that grief is, EFT tapping is a great way to release energy, especially heavy energy, out of your body. But once again, I feel like compassion is the answer to that as well. Okay. It's compassion as well, of understanding where you were coming from at the moment, right? If a child grows up and sees nothing but heinous examples of love, and then they grow up and attract a heinous example of love, and they think things about love and themselves that bring that experience, can you blame them before they're aware? And even when they are aware, because it's not always easy to trade the beliefs that your ego came up with to keep you safe for beliefs that will free you and make you a limitless God being, right? So it's still compassion. Dealing with the grief. It's okay. You know what? Giving yourself what you need, right? Rose was saying in the live on my channel, how can I love myself right now? What's the best way that I can love myself right now? Sometimes that's crying. Sometimes that's sleeping. Sometimes that's being angry. Sometimes it's whatever, but just making space for the human part of you and not rejecting it. Don't put the condition on yourself that everybody put on us, that you're not acceptable until you're perfect. You're not acceptable until you're acting like this. Love yourself no matter what, the way that you would want somebody to love you, without a condition, without a requirement for you to meet. That even at my lowest and my most powerless and my most helpless and my most fucked up, I still love myself enough to have compassion for whatever led me to this experience, right? And so not dwelling, this is discipline. Okay. Because we have not been taught to discipline our minds. We've been taught to be receivers of information, receivers of truth. So what's going on out there? That's what I decide. That's what's true. That's what's real. Right. And now as a manifester, you're deciding here what's real and true to project it out there. So dwelling on what is out there or what was out there is a waste of energy. Right. But it's a very human way to orient yourself. So it's becoming aware and making the choice, and on purpose, intentionally putting your mind on the things that serve you and fill you up and make you feel good and are in line with who you're deciding that you are. It is something like, I think sometimes people say, oh, I can't control my mind. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, no, you don't. You just don't do it. Right. I talk about Man on Fire, Denzel and Dakota Fanning. He was teaching her to swim and she was like, it's hard. It's hard. He said, it's not hard. Either you're trained or you're untrained. Right. And so this is the same thing with the mind. It's not hard. You're trained to think against yourself. And now you have to train yourself to think for yourself. And you have to do that. If you've been thinking against yourself for 40 years, you can't expect that. You watch a video, you feel amazing. Oh, wow, I guess my thoughts are just going to be perfect now. No, you've got to direct and steward your mind to where you want it to be, and disciplining yourself. Okay. And then being open to gratitude. Gratitude, something that I'm always working on, because gratitude to me, it's one of the best feelings that you can feel. Gratitude is a feeling that expands experiences. So this experience I had just now with me and Rose in our lives was incredible. I asked God this morning to show me evidence of his love for me. And this is that. And so this can be that experience, right? And I could just let it go and I could go throughout my day and just whatever, cool, whatever. But if tonight I come back to this experience and I dwell in the feeling and I dwell in how lucky I am to be able to do this and dwell in how grateful I am for Rose for being open to this and dwell on how grateful I am for all of you guys for being here and just the wonderful energies that we got to play in today. I just took that experience from 2 hours to a whole day, right? To even the next day, to the whole year, as long as I'm willing to expand on it. And so gratitude is like, it expands joy and bliss and beauty. And gratitude is also your entryway into abundance, no matter what, right? Because you always have something to appreciate. And gratitude, just like happiness, is a choice. The same way that you always have something to appreciate, you will always have something to complain about. You'll always have something that's not quite how you want it. And you are the one that's choosing between the two wolves inside of you, right? The light and the dark. Which are you feeding? Are you expanding on how, oh my God, I got to call everybody and let them know how this person cut me off in traffic. So I'm expanding. I'm reliving that experience every time I call somebody and tell them that. Or am I going to expand on the fact that, oh my gosh, this baby at the park smiled at me today, and then relive that experience for over and over and over. So gratitude is also discipline. It's a choice. We're not trained, unless you were like raised up in this or raised up in some type of religion that, prioritizes that. Gratitude is not something that we're taught. We're taught to wait for our happiness, to wait for more things. And even when we get the thing that we waited so long for, to wait for the next thing before we ever move into gratitude. And so we never do. And gratitude is a choice that you make right now that, you know what? I'm grateful I have a phone to be able to perceive this. I'm grateful that I even have the consciousness to even understand what these people are talking about. I'm grateful that I even know what manifestation is, so I never have to be stuck. I'm grateful to know that God is here with me and as me. And so because of that, I get to live a limitless life. You have infinite things to be grateful for, but it's a choice to bring that up in consciousness. So yeah, I think like just choosing to do it every day is a good way to be open to it.
I love this. Phenomenal. I want to just add to that a little bit. The word gratitude comes from gratis, meaning pleasure. So gratitude is the attitude of pleasure. And attitude, if you guys know longitude, latitude, attitude is your bearing, like with a ship where you're going. So it's like the attitude of pleasure is like you are directing towards pleasure. You are moving through and towards pleasure. Like that is who you're being. So when you are experiencing gratitude, expressing gratitude, feeling grateful, full of pleasure, you are literally like, that is your now moment. You're appreciating. And also the word appreciating. I've talked about this before, but like, what happens with your finances? They appreciate in value, right? Like you appreciate yourself and you grow versus depreciating yourself. So when you are having that compassion with the self that did not know, the self that perpetuated so much pain that they, ended up in some sort of situation to the point where they woke up, right? They realized, wait, I don't have to keep choosing this. We don't punish that baby. We don't say, oh, like Liv said, you're not a dumb baby. Oh, you dumb baby who's 7-month-old can't walk. Wow, what a lame baby. He just sits here all day and falls on its butt. Wow, man, this baby sucks. You would never. And if someone would, have some conversations amongst yourself. But like, point being, like, you get to choose to feel good because you deserve to feel good. You're feeling bad right now? How would you care for you as a child? Would you wrap you in a blanket, give you a hug, give you a cup of tea and say like, okay, I see where we chose from last time. We just wanted love. We acted a little bit wonky. Now, when we get to choose differently. We're going to come from a different place.
Wow. I love that so much. This is so beautiful.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. This has been so much fun. So lovely. So nourishing. I'm like, you see me up here, like my hands up, like this is my church. I'm like, yeah, let's speak on it.
It really is. It's been so amazing, Rose. I'm just so blown away by your energy and your knowledge and your delivery and just everything about you. I think it's just so amazing. And I feel so grateful and like connected to you. We're probably like soul sisters in the ethers or something, because feels
love
good
it.
about it.
I
Mhm.
love it. Yeah, I was watching one of your videos in January and I was like falling asleep to it and I was just like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my friend Olivia.
Period. Okay, now we are.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for being here. Guys, thank you for coming. Thank you for your beautiful questions. And this replay will be up on my YouTube at Run Wild. And obviously follow the darling Olivia Grace at her Master Manifestors channel. And yeah, have an absolutely beautiful day. You are stellar. You're amazing. You're awesome. You are the selector of your reality. And you get to create in a way that you love. So, bye now.
Bye.